Some beefs never make it past social media posts and diss tracks. Others spill blood on concrete and leave families grieving while the feds build cases that could send steppers away for life. When crews decide their differences can't be settled with words, the consequences stretch far beyond the blocks where it all started. This is the story of how the 4K Trey and Bleeda beef when blood started spilling. December 2nd, 2021 changed everything between the Bleeders and NBA 4KT when Ben 10 and his cousin Marvin Batiste got caught lacking on I-10 westbound near Prairieville. The two NBA affiliates were sliding through what they thought was safe territory when ops crept up beside their whip and let loose with everything they had. Marvin Batiste caught multiple and got stretched right there in the passenger seat, while Ben 10 survived with gunshot wounds that would leave him laid up but still breathing. The truck sat riddled with bullet holes in the middle of the highway, blocking all 3 lanes while 12 tried to make sense of the carnage that had just went down. The drill wasn't some random drive-by or case of mistaken identity. This was calculated get-back that had been brewing in Baton Rouge's streets for months. The Bleeders had been smoking with the Vultures, a crew closely connected to NBA 4KT through various affiliations and family ties that ran deep through Louisiana's criminal underworld. On A Million Roses TV, Ben 10 talked about his gang and all.
I want to say I've been out the porch. I feel like on the porch, to be real, because think about it, we from the hood. Well, I know I'm from the hood, so it's like you never on the porch. Like, you was brought up in this lifestyle that we brought up in, so you know what I'm saying?
So which part of Baton Rouge exactly like you from?
Where is police?
No.
Oh.
Which part of Baton Rouge like exactly that where you from at?
I'm from South Baton Rouge. This shit like 5 minutes that way.
So talk about like how tied in you is like with the connection as far as just Baton Rouge and shit that's.
I'm good. Me personally, I'm good everywhere. I'm a young nigga, you heard me? I just made 20. Everybody think I'm like 27, you heard me? But shit, I just made 20. I was in high school last year. I was in high school last year. A year before last. You feel me? But I'm tied in because shit, I really go anywhere. Like, I don't know. Everybody really love me. I ain't really got no hatred. But nobody really gonna hate me.
So you feel like you're an approachable person?
I feel like I'm an understanding person. You feel me? I'm an approaching person because shit, it depends on how I feel that day, to be real. I can't just say that.
So
NBA Ben 10's survival meant the streets would hear his version of events, but the Bleeders didn't care about giving him time to heal or process his trauma. True Bleeda, Coer, 40 Glock, 1514B, and Ruger Rudy wasted no time dropping Gator Pack, a real disrespectful track that celebrated Marvin's while clowning Ben 10 about surviving when his cousin didn't make it out alive. The bars hit different when they came from steppers who had actually put in work. 40 Glock you rapped heard a savage stepped on-ish, but they was trying to step on Ben. He felt that fire effed around and shut down I-10. These weren't just empty threats or studio gangster bars. They were confessions wrapped in musical content that documented real violence. Ben 10's response came through Instagram videos where he defended his cousin's memory while challenging the Bleeders to face him directly instead of hiding behind disrespectful music. His cousin had been a football player with no street affiliations, making his particularly painful because he'd been an innocent victim caught in beef that had nothing to do with him personally. The IG dissing hit a whole new level when Ben 10 dropped pics of him and his cousin, basically daring the Bleeders to slide if they was really about that action. Legendary in BR's drill scene, it proved the beef wasn't just rap, it was blood deep. True Bleeda clapped back, calling Ben 10 a fake stepper, saying the NBA homie wasn't really cut for the field work he was rapping about or posting online. The back and forth showed how the net became a war zone, gangs violating ops in public just to boost their clout and show they ain't scared to crash out. Too many eyes on it, so once threats flew, nobody could fold, cause the whole city was watching, trying to see who was really stepping and who was just woofing. The Bleeders doubled down on their disrespect by releasing Pick Your Partner Up in January 2022, a track made to diss NBA's while tagging their own powers as who weren't afraid to claim bodies. The music video had them strapped up and ready for war while directly challenging their ops to get back. Baton Rouge War Zone. The Bleeders came up out of Glen Oaks, a North Baton Rouge neighborhood that's known for raising real ones like G Money. The crew was built on family ties. 3 blood brothers, Real Bleeder, True Bleeda, and Coer. They didn't just pick a name out of nowhere either. After going through hella pain and losses in the streets, Real Bleeder said they should call themselves True Bleeders to represent all the hurt they'd been through together.
And the Bleeders versus NBA, and it's just a lot of that. Is that stuff that y'all watch? Like, do y'all, is that stuff accurate?
ain't beef with no NBA.
No, I ain't gonna lie though. I ain't gonna lie.
You see that shit, but that's false.
I be saying it.
They just internet shit.
But them dudes, that be people posting trying to.
That's clickbait. Man. That's just people trying to push it together from Instagram.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. But none of that, like, I really don't see none of this. I don't really follow nobody either. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really be knowing all. You know what I'm saying? I be strictly focused on this music. Like, I be so focused on this. I just be trying to make hits, bro. Like, back to back, hit after hit.
And then a lot of these people who make them documentaries, they never been to Baton Rouge before. They just put it together.
Never been.
Man, bro.
Can't tell you what X to get on.
Man, it's so crazy, bro. It's just.
True Bleeda became the face of the set. His flow was raw, and he didn't hold back, rapping about real street activity while other rappers kept it industry safe. He wore the Bleeder name heavy, which made him both the loudest voice for the crew and the main target for anybody looking to make a name. The beef with the Vultures wasn't no petty hood beef. It ran deep. This wasn't just about blocks or disrespect. This was family connections, old grudges, and real Baton Rouge politics that had been bubbling for years. Since the Vultures were tied in tight with NBA 4KT, going at them meant stepping into war with multiple sets. Ben 10 being tied to Vulture members through family made the December 2021 even more personal. It wasn't just about street affiliations no more. It hit home. He grew up around some of the same people that now wanted him, and that turned the whole thing into mind games on top of gunplay. In a Say Cheese interview, Real Bleeder talked about how he got $130,000 from his mom's life insurance when she passed. That clip turned into ammo for the ops. They started calling him and his crew soft, saying they ain't really grind in the streets. They came up off sad money. Ben 10 even threw shots at that in his tracks, trying to clown their come up. Over time, the Bleeders grew beyond just the three brothers. They brought in people like 54 Donda and other riders. That added more muscle, but it also brought more problems. Every new member had their own past, their own enemies, and once they repped Bleeder, all them problems came too. Coer later admitted that him and Ben 10 used to be real close, like tight, growing up. But the streets don't care about history. Situations flipped, and now they were on opposite sides. 1 minute y'all homies, the next y'all aiming at each other. That's how it goes when pride, loyalty, and the streets all get mixed up.
At that time, at that point back then, like my cousin and them, they probably knew somebody else. I ain't know. Like me and Bleed and them, like we just be really in the hood, so we don't be knowing, bro.
Yeah. I mean, cause Baton Rouge is super small, so that's why when I'm watching these documentaries, I'm like, these had to at least know of each other or grow up together in elementary, middle school.
Hey, bro.
I mean, so what happened? Did people
if
did
a nigga
people
been
go
knowing
apart?
you, look, that's what I be trying to say too. And been knowing nigga, bro, stuff. Been knowing you, bro, and been knowing you since school, bro. No, bro. You ain't like that, bro. You ain't like that, brother. So you gotta stop, like, you know what I'm saying? Cause been knowing a lot of these. I ain't even cap, bro. And it's really crazy, bro. It's really crazy how people turn out. Like, nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Yeah.
Right? These niggas wild, niggas tweeting.
Niggas used to go to school and be quiet as a mouse.
The Bleeders weren't shy about speaking on what they did either. They rapped about it boldly, sometimes even putting crimes in plain view. That made them real to their fans, but it also made it easier for the feds to watch and build cases. But to them, street rep meant more than playing it safe. TG Commas, one of their people, tried to patch things up with NBA's P. Youngin over social media, asking why people who used to be cool had to become enemies. But all he got back was more disrespect. That showed the hate was deep. It wasn't just smoke, it was full on fire. Linking up with crews like TBG, Top Boy Gorillas, gave the Bleeders more allies in the streets, but it also brought more eyes and more heat. Now it wasn't just one crew they had to worry about. Enemies started coming from all sides. Glen Oaks already had a rep for breeding rappers and real hitters, so if you came up there, you felt the pressure to pick a side, chase the mic, or chase the streets. The Bleeders chose the block, but they still saw music as a way to make it out. Mall Massacre. February 25th, 2022 became the day when the Bleeders learned that fame couldn't protect them from street consequences when True Bleeda, Cliff, Coer, and 54 Donda decided to spend their afternoon at the Mall of Louisiana. True Bleeda and his crew took flicks with female fans inside the mall, posting content to social media that inadvertently provided their ops with real-time location updates. Wild enough, these photos would later be the last images of True Bleeda and Cliff breathing. Coer peeped something was off and warned True Bleeda that they had been inside the mall too long, making them vulnerable to enemies who might be tracking their movements. His street instincts recognized danger that others dismissed, but his warnings went unheeded by crew members who felt protected by the mall's public setting and security presence. The drill occurred as the Bleeders were leaving the mall in their whip, with ops who had been conducting surveillance pulling up alongside and opening fire in broad daylight. True Bleeda refused to go down without a fight and clapped back at his attackers even while suffering fatal wounds. The collision with a pole during the trapped the Bleeders' vehicle while their ops continued firing, creating a where escape became impossible. The trapped car became a where True Bleeda and Cliff leaked out while Coer and 54 Don Da suffered injuries that would leave them permanently scarred. 12 arrived to find 2 stretched victims and 2 survivors who required immediate medical attention, along with multiple whips riddled with bullet holes and shell casings scattered across the parking lot. The attackers' decision to abandon their shot-up vehicle at the scene while escaping in a pre-positioned getaway car meant it was all professionally planned, so there were no loose ends. 54 Don Da's emotional breakdown on social media, where he cried for his fallen day ones while promising get back, provided ops with psychological warfare opportunities they eagerly exploited. His public grief became content for enemies who reposted his pain while dissing the Bleeders' losses. NBA members, particularly Ben 10, celebrated True Bleeda's through social media posts that included listening to the deceased rapper's music while making jokes about how he got smoked. Ben 10's decision to slide to the mall and record videos mocking the location showed how deeply personal the beef had become. B-Way Youngie posted laughing emojis about True Bleeda getting stretched, while NBA Herm incorporated references to the mall into his music, specifically targeting 54 Don Da's emotional response with bars that celebrated the Bleeders' pain. P. Youngin continued the violation with snippets referencing the True Bleeda hit while threatening other Bleeder members, demonstrating that the smoke wouldn't end with one successful drill. His bars promised additional get-back against surviving crew members who might seek revenge for their fallen leader. Federal heat. April 14, 2022 brought the first arrests in True Bleeda's murder when detectives announced they had booked 21-year-old Dubug with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and unlawful use of a weapon. His connections to the Vultures was enough of a link for investigators to build their case against him. Dubug had been locked up in East Baton Rouge Parish Prison on unrelated charges prior to the murder arrest, showing law enforcement had been tracking his moves for some time before connecting him to the mall shooting that stretched True Bleeda and Cliff. The August 2022 grand jury decision that there wasn't sufficient evidence to formally charge Dubug for the double homicide demonstrated how difficult it could be to prosecute gang-related hits even with witness testimony and physical evidence. Prosecutors said they would likely bring the case back once they had reviewed additional evidence to make the charges stick. April 11, 2023 brought new developments when Texas law enforcement arrested 2 Baton Rouge savages who were smuggling undocumented immigrants near the U.S.-Mexican border. One of the detained individuals, authorities believed, had played a role in the drive-by shooting that smoked True Bleeda and Cliff outside the Mall of Louisiana. 2 people, both from Baton Rouge, were identified by 12 as participants in the murder conspiracy that took out the Bleeder members. Graves allegedly copped a white 2005 Honda Accord on February 24, 2022, which was used in the drill the following day before being abandoned at the scene on Bluebonnet Boulevard after the steppers dipped in their getaway whip. The suspects dipped to Texas after the murder and got caught up in human trafficking operations, showing they were part of bigger criminal networks that went way beyond simple gang beef into organized crime territory. Their arrest on federal immigration charges gave prosecutors extra leverage to flip them for cooperation. Real Bleeders' near-fatal in Monroe, Louisiana on an Easter weekend proved the smoke hadn't stopped with True Bleeda's but had spread to new ops in different cities. The Monroe drill went down after Real Bleeder accidentally tagged his location on Instagram, letting YNN members track him down and ambush him at a Walmart gas station. The sloppy moves showed how social media had become a weapon that ops could use against careless targets who weren't moving smart. 2 people got booked within 48 hours of the Monroe because they left overwhelming evidence everywhere. Their decision to drop a diss track called 80K right after the gave prosecutors confessions wrapped in musical content that basically snitched on themselves. The polls recovered from SG Chapo got linked to bodies in Shreveport, proving the violence between crews had spread across multiple cities and states. The ballistics connections showed these weren't isolated incidents, but part of bigger criminal operations where savages were putting in work everywhere. Double D Carter and other YNN members got arrested in Easter suits and became social media content that their own ops used for clowning, showing how quickly steppers become victims in street conflicts. Their public humiliation proved how gang culture's emphasis on respect could flip overnight when you get caught lacking. NBA Youngboy's house arrest order forcing him back to Baton Rouge created new dynamics that escalated existing beefs while bringing additional federal heat to Louisiana's gang violence. His presence attracted more surveillance from law enforcement already investigating gang activities and building cases. The cycle of violence between the Bleeders and their ops claimed multiple lives while leaving survivors facing lengthy prison bids or permanent disabilities. Each created new grievances that demanded get back, ensuring the conflict would continue claiming victims regardless of legal consequences or Fed pressure. Federal investigations into gang activities created pressure that forced cooperation from arrested members while exposing broader criminal enterprises. The intersecting cases involving murders, drug trafficking, weapons violations, and human smuggling showed law enforcement building comprehensive cases against entire organizations trying to take down whole crews. Real Bleeder and Coer's survival of multiple assassination attempts made them legends of resilience while marking them as high-priority targets for ops who viewed their continued breathing as challenges to their own reps. Their ability to survive created mythologies that attracted both supporters and additional enemies wanting to be the ones to finally stretch them. The streets don't operate on court calendars, and Get Back doesn't wait for legal proceedings to wrap up. While prosecutors build cases and defense attorneys file motions, the cycle of retaliation keeps spinning with new steppers stepping into roles vacated by the imprisoned savages. Young Boy's return to Baton Rouge added accelerant to fires that had been burning for years, with federal agents watching every move while body counts continued climbing in the city. Tomorrow's headlines will feature yesterday's survivors as today's casualties in a war where everyone claims victory while nobody actually wins in these streets. If you like this video, click one of the windows on either side to watch a video similar to this one.